This is Taking Stock on Bloomberg. I'm Pim Fox. Anger, boot camps, and farming. Are these the trends and the cultural phenomenon we have to look forward to in 2011? My next guest believes so, and she's got a proven track record of spotting some trends. She's one of the first people to popularize the concept of metrosexuals. Here with her New Year's predictions and outlook is Marian Salzman, the president of Euro RSCG Worldwide PR North America. Now, good to have you with us, Marian.
Thank you.
Before we go on to the various topics of what's going to happen in 2011,
right,
can you just define what is a metrosexual?
Okay, he's a straight guy who's just gay enough. He was the first one to sort of spend more time looking in the mirror maybe than the woman he was with. But he wanted to be the best friend, the best shopping partner, and the best lover to the female in his life. And he took his emotional life a little bit more seriously than men had heretofore.
So one could say it's slightly more evolved on some levels.
Maybe more evolved on one level, a much better consumer as far as marketeers were interested.
So the marketeers are in love with this group of people.
I wish I could tell you I did it to be mercenary or to be sociological. It was all about selling a full-calorie light beer.
A full-calorie light beer.
Yeah, Peroni beer was coming over from Italy and looking for a niche. There was a big, thing with Grey Goose and the other white spirits that had suddenly become interesting to men. And how did you speak to this guy who was a style guy? Luckily for us, right afterwards, Queer Eye for Straight Guy came out and really made it much, much more popular a concept.
All right, now is anger going to be a popular concept in 2011? That's one of the trends you say we got to watch.
I certainly feel that anger is a defining characteristic of most of the Western societies right now. People are angry at home, they're angry in the workplace, they're angry when they're in queues or lines. They're angry that life hasn't been as generous as they expected it to be. We all expected real estate to appreciate 8% a year, and when that stopped...
Hasn't turned out that way.
Yeah, it's really not a happy time.
So people are going to be angry.
They have seriously deep anger. I mean, it starts with men have handled this reception much less well than women have. So men are angry at their wives that may be doing better in the workplace and not as touched by it. Women, in turn, are angry with their husbands because what happened? You're not pulling 70% or 50% of your weight. Suddenly, I'm carrying this weight at home. So there's tension even starting out between the genders that come from the anger.
And is that going to be something that the political parties are going to try to tap into or already have?
They appear to be doing an awfully good job. If change was the buzzword of 2008, I'm going to argue that fermenting anger was the activity of 2010. It was very, very hard to find two plausible candidates that any of us could, as rational people, could support. We were very polarized, them versus us.
All right, so you've got anger. That's one thing we've got to look forward to in 2011. What about this idea of using your hands, having a green thumb, planting crops, planting flowers, this idea of actually doing things physically with your hands?
Right, it comes down to we feel like the world is so out of control and we're so desperate to sort of be useful and make ourselves feel relevant. We want to take charge of something. And we just feel awfully good and awfully satisfied at the end of whether it's retiling the bathroom or becoming an urban farmer, whether it's growing your own grapes to create wine, or it's digging ditches in your back garden. You feel like somehow you're doing something. You're a little bit more self-sufficient. It really makes us feel like we're not part of that big corporate giant. The world isn't weighing down on us in the same way. We're getting stuff done. And
also because you don't feel like you can depend on anyone or anything else.
Our institutions have failed us completely. We don't know who to blame for everything that's gone wrong, but we know that religion can't be trusted, schools can't be trusted, corporations can't be trusted, government can't be trusted. Pretty much nobody but your mom can be trusted. And I think that in this environment, there's something very earthy about going outside and digging and touching the ground and creating life with seeds. So I think...
But let me guess, while you go and create this life with seeds, you want to videotape it, you want to Twitter about it, you want to post about it, you want everyone to know what you're doing, even though...
You want to share it.
You want to share it.
Okay, so
what you call my casting.
My casting is this idea that we are all in the business that you're in. We're figuring out what we want, what stories we want to share, with whom we want to share it. We're editing all of the archives of the internet in real time, putting out our version of what news ought to be with our own filter, and that filter may include the angry filter. So I'm angry at the Democrats, I'm angry at the Republicans, I'm angry at big business, I'm angry at the Catholic Church, I'm angry at
You're
at all
angry.
of these institutions, and it's going to be through that filter.
What about boot camps? You mentioned that. The
Right.
people are going to be sending their kids to boot camps to toughen them up?
Well, we think that there is going to be a real backlash against how soft and easy we've been for so many years. I mean, every kid wins a trophy right now. Nobody goes to Little League and is a winner. Everybody is sort of part of that winning team. And when they hit the real world, they're not really equipped for it, particularly that real world that comes up against the Chindian youth, Chinese and Indian, where they've been competing relentlessly and ruthlessly to be the very best on their own, man against himself and man against other men. And so, yeah, we see people sending their kids off to get them ready for the real world, teaching them how to develop tougher skin, thicker skin, to not be as inclined to fall apart the first time they're criticized, really or virtually.
And the last item has to do with everybody wants to seem to have more control over their lives.
We feel like the world's out of control. We don't know when we're going to live and die. We don't know when we're going to be fired. We're constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. And our society's become so negative. The other shoe dropping has a lot of negative, dire consequences. So we somehow want to feel like we're exerting control. We're taking charge of things.
All right. Well, Marian Salzman, a lot to pay attention to in 2011. I hope you'll keep us up to date and give us some milestones along the way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us.